What do you do when you pass away with an LLC inside of a revocable trust? This is going to be instructions for the backup trustee to take over the management of that LLC and distribute it out to your beneficiaries. The revocable trust turns irrevocable when you pass away, so you need to get a new EIN number and open up a new trust bank account underneath that EIN number. Then your backup trustee will step into your role as trustee and take over the management of the LLC membership interest inside of that trust. It's going to be their responsibility to make sure that the LLC continues to operate properly while they are distributing income and assets out of the trust. So the first thing we want to do is understand the ownership structure. We need to collect documents like the trust document, the operating agreement, the articles of organization, and death certificates. With that trust document, you just want to make sure that you are still the successor trustee listed on that trust document and that you are actually going to be the person managing the assets inside of that revocable trust when the grantor passes away. You also want to make sure that the trust actually holds the LLC membership interest, because if the grantor did not transfer the membership interest into the trust when they were alive, it will have to go through the probate process because it's still in their name. And then it will get distributed per the instructions inside their will or the intestate laws and not the revocable trust. You're also going to confirm that the operating agreement states that the trust has the ability to own the LLC membership interest, otherwise there's going to be conflicts. For death certificates, you just want to get 5 to 10 copies of this because you're going to need them when you go to these different institutions to take over the management of all these assets. The next thing we need to do is take control over the LLC. We want to prove that we have the authority, update the LLC records, notify business partners, and update our insurance. In terms of proving our authority, we need our death certificate, the trust document, and a certification of trust. This will tell any of the institutions that we go to that the grantor has passed away and that we are the ones in control of the trust assets, which would be the LLC membership interest. And then we need to update the LLC records if the grantor was listed as a member or a manager of the LLC, and we need to do any required filings with the Secretary of State. Then we need to notify any business partners like banks, vendors, tenants, etc., and let them know that the grantor has passed away and that you are going to be the point of contact and you are now in control of managing the LLC membership interest. And you want to make sure the assets still have the proper insurance, whether it's commercial, landlord, or liability. You want to make sure that the policies are up to date and the expenses are getting paid. And then because you control the LLC membership interest, it's going to be your responsibility to make sure that things continue to operate correctly. So you need to look at your operating agreement, make sure that things are running correctly per that agreement, and then make sure that the bills are still getting paid and that the income is going to the appropriate locations like a bank account or the trust accounts. You also want to make sure you are collecting rents and any business income, and again, redirecting them to the appropriate accounts. You also want to make sure you're tracking income and expenses, and you'll need to file tax returns for the individual, the LLC, and the trust itself. You'll need to coordinate with a CPA and an attorney to make sure that you're doing all the documentation correctly. The CPA will help you do all the tax returns, and then the attorney will help you make sure that you are following all the legal obligations that you have. This will be things like publicly notifying creditors or state authorities that the grantor has passed away and making sure that all business permits or licenses are up to date. Once we've taken over the management of all the assets, we've paid off all the debts, and we've done all of our taxes, we can now distribute the assets in the revocable trust out to the beneficiaries per the instructions inside of that trust document. The trust document will tell you to do one of 3 things. It will either keep the LLC membership interest inside of that trust to be managed on behalf of the beneficiaries, distribute that LLC membership out to the beneficiaries, or wind it down completely. If the LLC is being distributed out to the beneficiaries, your attorney will help you create the assignment of membership interest. You also need to make sure the beneficiaries are signing a receipt showing that they actually receive the assets that you have distributed out to them. This will protect you down the road in the event that there are any conflicts related to the management and distribution of the assets after the grantor's death. If you want help setting any of this up, click the link in the bio, fill out the form, and schedule a time to talk some more on our team.